Hey, what's up? It's GC Kinsey, here to show y'all how I styled the wig for my All Might cosplay Small Might edition. I'm starting with a wig from Epic Cosplay Wigs in the style of Keto Layered and the shade Natural Blonde, and this is what it looks like straight out of the bag, so it obviously is going to need a lot of help. First things first, I'm going to add some bangs using these wefts also in the shade of Natural Blonde, and I'm just parting the hair right at the lace edge to figure out where I'm going to place those bangs. Once I've made the part, I'm securing that hair down with a clip, and then doing the same thing on the other side. Next, I'm measuring how much space those bangs are going to take up so I know how much to cut from the wefts. And it looks like 2 inches on each side, so I've cut that 4 inches doubled over to make a 2-inch piece of weft. I've got some thread and a matching color, and I'm just going to place it on the wig going in this direction, sweeping up from the lace. And using a needle and my thread, I'm just hand tacking the edge of that weft down to the cap of the wig. If you're new to sewing, you might find this a little bit tricky, and it might be easier to use a curved needle to really get into that cap and back out. I have many years of experience hand sewing, so I'm just going in with a standard embroidery needle and making it work. But they do make needles and other sewing tools designed for this purpose if you think that would be easier to work with. Once I reach the end, I tie off my thread, then clip the end with my scissors, take the clip out of the hair, and use a comb to start bringing my bangs forward. I'm going to style this properly later, but for now, this is just to get the hair going in the right direction. I'm also taking those hairs at the lace edge and blending them up into the weft. That's why I parted that off at the beginning, so that you don't have the seam showing. Then I'm parting another little bit of hair from behind the weft, so again you don't see the seam showing from the backside, and I'm guiding that hair downward with my comb. Then I'm applying some heat with my straightening iron to really get it going in the right direction. This is synthetic hair, so I do use my lowest heat setting to keep it from melting. Just giving it a final pass through with my comb. And now we have the first of our bangs. So we just have to do the same thing on the other side, and we have both of our bangs. Next up, we've got to style this thing, and to do that we're going to use a couple of teasing combs, a fine tooth comb, some got to be glued freeze spray, and some got to be glued spiking glue. I'm starting with a small section and using one of the teasing combs to back comb it from the tip to the root. This is going to add a lot of volume to the hair. It's also going to add some tangles to the hair. As you can see, it looks a bit like a rat's nest, so that's why I'm coming back in with a fine tooth comb and smoothing some of those tangles out. And I try to do this very carefully just on the surface level so that you still get that volume we put in at the root. And I'm continuing that same process all along the rest of the wig. As I'm working, you can see how much more volume is getting put into this wig compared to how it started when it came out of the box. Once I'm done, I'm going to pull some of the hair off to the side and start spraying it with the freeze spray, and that's going to help us maintain that volume and that kind of spikiness that we have been putting in with the teasing comb and the fine-tooth comb. And when I spray it, I just kind of take my fingers, separate the hair, pull it outward, and I'm forming not really precise spikes, but just the general illusion of a spiky hairstyle. I'm interpreting All Might's hairstyle with kind of a messy realism and going for that aesthetic rather than the typical well-defined anime spikes. As I work my way around, I like to turn the wig back and forth to check my work and look at the overall shape and make sure it's forming as I intend. So there we have the fully spiked wig, and now I'm going back over all of it with one more round of the Got To Be Glued freeze spray. And now that I have the main wig styling done, what's left to do is style these bangs. I'm going to start by trimming them to the proper length, which I measured separately off camera. And then I'm point cutting up into the ends so that they're not blunt from being trimmed to that length. Doing the same thing on the other side. And then I'm also taking my scissors and dragging it down the length of the bangs. That's going to add some layering and make it easier to tease this hair. The wefts come all in one length, and that's really difficult to get any texture into when you're teasing, so I'm adding that texture by layering the hair. So just like I did with the rest of the wig, I'm taking small sections and back combing it toward the root with my teasing comb. And rather than trying to add so much volume here, I'm just trying to get this messy, get a little bit of texture into it so that these bangs are not so silky and will take styling a lot more easily when I start heat forming them into the shape that I want them to be. So now that I have a nice messy bang, I'm going back in and smoothing over the surface with the fine-tooth comb. And even though I'm combing out the tangles so that this bang is pretty smooth again, you can see that it's got a little bit more puffiness, a little bit more frizz to it than the one on the other side that I have not yet teased. I'm also combing upward again from the lace edge like I did earlier, spraying it with the freeze spray. Combing it in the direction I want, and then applying heat. And what this is doing is keeping all of the different layers, the bang that I added and the little bits of hair above and below it from the wig, into one nice continuous piece. So I keep going back and forth between applying heat, combing the hair into the right shape, applying more spray, and just working with it until all of that hair comes together nicely. For the ends, I'm pulling them apart much the same way that I did with all the rest of the hair on the wig. and then spraying it with our freeze spray again, and pulling it apart into those little spiky ends. Going back and forth and doing this a few different times, pulling the spiky ends in different directions just to give them some nice shape and dimension. One last pass of heat and that bang is finished, and I repeated everything on the other side. Now there's just one thing left to do, which is that All Might has these crimps in his bangs where they go in a few different directions, so I'm going to do that by folding up my bangs and applying heat along the fold. Then I'm folding it up in the other direction so I can apply the other crimp. Then folding it all together like an envelope and applying more heat to really set those crimps in place. And when I release it, you can see them. Then I'm repeating the same thing on the other side. And there we have our fully styled Small Might wig. If you have any questions about my process, feel free to drop those in the comments. If you try this wig styling yourself, I would love to see photos. If you want more wig styling tutorials, let me know. I mostly do makeup tutorials, but I would love to start doing this for wigs more as well. And if you want a tutorial of my All Might makeup, I'd be happy to make that too. If you want to reach out to me on other social media, I am GC Kenzie across all platforms. I have a lot of other fun stuff on the channel for cosplayers, including cosplay music videos, so check those out. Thank you so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed this one, and I will see you on the next one.